Breaking news, Mark Robinson was rushed to the hospital after an accident during his campaign event in North Carolina last night. And the funny thing is, 0 Republicans have said anything about it. They refuse to acknowledge the situation, and they refuse to acknowledge that Mark Robinson exists altogether because he is a liability. He is a toxic bombshell waiting to go off, and everything that he touches turns to piss, or trash rather. And it's funny because Donald Trump is trying to distance himself from Robinson's campaign, even more so than Melania is trying to distance herself from Trump's campaign. It's because he knows that North Carolina is an important swing state. It could actually become the tipping point state if VP Harris wins right away, and Mark Robinson could have nuked all of those chances. Here's a photo of Mark Robinson holding an event with cardboard cutouts of Trump and Melania because they don't want to be seen with the actual man. We have 38 days to go until the election and a lot to break down. Make sure you drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and let's begin with Trump's Truth Social post last night while this was going on. So 9 hours ago on Truth Social, Trump posted, "Can you imagine? She lets our border go for 4 years, totally open and unprotected, and then says she's going to fix it. She's incompetent, not capable of ever fixing it." I don't know if Donald Trump genuinely thinks VP Kamala Harris is the president, but she is not. She does not have the veto powers or the signing powers that a president has. And also, Trump is the one who leveraged his soft power to shoot down Langford's bill, so I don't want to hear any of that. Trump then said, "Why does Fox put this fraudulent liar on television? Why don't they put the people that are going to make America great again? Fox is just as bad as she is." So this is Trump exerting his leverage to try to turn Fox News into an echo chamber. This was the exact same time that VP Harris was giving her rally, so I'm assuming that Trump was watching the rally in Arizona via Fox News and was raging. But it's very, very clear that Donald Trump wants to intentionally keep Fox News viewers in the dark. He only wants them to watch Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, RSBN, Tucker Carlson, whatever else, because he wants them to stay insulated and make sure that they're in the dark and they never actually interact with VP Harris's policies or her speeches, and that is proven right here. I mean, Fox News plays a little bit of Harris's speech in Arizona, and Trump says, "Why is this fraudulent liar on television?" This may seem like an unhinged Truth Social post, which it is, but it's more than that. He is trying to exert his leverage and influence to make sure Fox News changes their programming. He demands loyalty from everyone around him, whether it's the people at Fox News or the people in his administration. He then posts more about immigration. It's genuinely all he has. That is why he nuked Langford's border bill. Genuinely all Donald Trump has. Let's go on to the story of today. This BBC article reads, "Republican governor candidate treated for burns after campaign incident." And if God is watching over Trump to make sure he's safe, like MAGA Republicans claim, then God must really hate Mark Robinson, because not only has he had a terrible month, but he just got burned really bad, literally burned. Maybe it was God who released those nude Africa forum tapes. But before we jump into this burn, because it's a really interesting story and shows how much of an idiot Mark Robinson is, I want to show you Trump's lie being exposed.
Are you going to pull your endorsement of Mark Robinson?
I don't know the situation.
He is asked, "Are you going to pull your endorsement of Mark Robinson?" He says, "I don't know the situation." That is the classic MAGA tactic. I don't know. I've never heard of her. I've never met her. I've never even been there. I've never been in that building. That's all that they say. But the thing is, the day before this, Mark Robinson said this.
President Trump, we've spoken to him, had great conversations with him, but we have chosen to do that, and because we want to make sure that he wins this state.
He has spoken to President Trump. I mean, it's very, very obvious that Mark Robinson's campaign, or the 3 people that are left of it, have been speaking to Donald Trump's campaign because Donald Trump's entire tactic is to deflect, lie, attack, never admit defeat, and that is a tactic that Mark Robinson is going with. But back to this BBC article, then we'll read some of the reporting on Twitter because it's hilarious. Mark Robinson, the embattled Republican, was burned. His representatives did not detail what occurred, but we have sources. Robinson was recovering from second-degree burns at a Mayberry truck show. It comes days after several senior advisors resigned from his campaign in the wake of allegations that more than a decade ago, the candidate made racist comments on a porn website message board under the username Mini Soldier and called himself a black Nazi. Robinson, who is running to be the state's first black governor and has previously been endorsed by Trump, denied the reports, but they are definitely true. And Amy Gardner on Twitter reports, Mark Robinson attended a Trump show in Mount Airy, North Carolina tonight. He burned his hand leaning against a truck and was taken to the hospital. I'm told by an official source that he is fine and home now. And isn't that like rule number 1 you learn when you're 7 years old, when you're around trucks or any type of car? Never lean against the exhaust pipe. Mason left a funny comment. Robinson says, my hand is burned. His wife says, do you want Neosporin? Robinson's like, actually, I was thinking piss. I think piss will be. But the broader point here is that these are the people Trump surrounds himself with. He doesn't base it off of merit or intelligence or policy positions. He bases it off of loyalty. Loyalty to him, and that is it. The reason he chose J.D. Vance was largely because J.D. Vance said he would not have done what Mike Pence did and certified the results on January 6th of 2021. So Trump wants loyalty, and that is why a second Trump term is so scary. We'll get to that after. Here's a clip of Trump slurring while talking about immigrants ruining our country. I don't think it's the immigrants ruining our country.
We have only one good thing about this, is they make our criminals look like very nice people. These are hardened, horrible criminals, and we have to get them the hell out of our country because they're ruining the fabric of our country. Kamala is directly responsible for the tens of thousands of crimes committed by illegal migrants that she set free into our country.
We all know that Donald Trump is out of touch, but it really just hit me how out of touch he is while I was watching this clip, because I was thinking back last month, I was taking Uber or Lyft, one of those services, I won't say which one, and my driver told me he was an illegal immigrant. He saw that I was coming back from the Democratic National Convention. He said, I came here illegally. I have a daughter here. We just want to build a family. So while I was watching this clip, I was wondering, has Trump had an experience like that recently? Obviously, he has not. He is so insulated in his own bubble. He is so out of touch that he thinks every single immigrant coming over, whether legally or illegally, whether an adult or a kid, is some sort of hardened criminal. And that is because he hasn't actually interfaced. He hasn't actually interacted with anybody that's come over here through any way, probably since 2006 or whatever. I just made that year up, but the point stands. Trump gets away with this inflammatory rhetoric. He doesn't even think twice about the apocalyptic rhetoric because of his lack of experience in the real world. And we see this happen all the time. People very often become more open-minded when they begin to interact with more diversity. You can imagine a white dude who grew up in a small town with not a lot of diversity, and he doesn't understand other cultures, not because it's his own fault, but because he hasn't really gotten out much. And then once he goes to college across the country in New York or whatever, he interacts with this diversity and it opens his mind. This happens a lot, and you can even flip it. I'm sure there are majority black communities where a black person grows up not really understanding different cultures until they go to a more diverse college. The point here is diversity is always good because it opens people's minds up and they interact with others, and it stops them from turning out like this dude who is constantly demonizing immigrants or Muslims or Jewish people. I mean, the list goes on and on. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if you appreciate what I do, drop a like, comment a blue heart, hit the subscribe button. Have a great rest of your day, and peace out.